Hello everybody, welcome to the Cafe of Knowledge. I'm so glad everybody is here and tuning in. Please let's get these likes and subscribes up. Please hit subscribe. That way when I do a video for inventory and then I do an interview with Jay, you know, also me and Jay has a video that me and him, we do all kind of hot topics and everything. And then we also have this video on the inventory. So our hot topic video with me and Jay, that also gives us a whole bunch of knowledge and in our regular day lives and personal lives and what's going on with relationships and things like that. And then the inventory one, it comes out usually on Wednesdays, okay? And then the video with me and Jay, that comes out on Sundays. So hit subscribe. And come on now, hit it, click like, click subscribe. That way you will all know when we are putting out a video. Okay, and you won't miss anything, and you can stay on track and stay on point with our videos. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone does that. And like I said, for the inventory video, if you know anyone that needs this or need to better their career, or you just want to help a high school kid where it's almost like a vocational course where that they could take this, look at it, and then when they graduate from high school, if they're going to college, it's also good for their college career. It's also good for if they're not able to go to college at that point in time, they can still use this and get a good job and still get paid good money. So hey, share if you know anybody like that. If you have any kids or anything, or nieces or nephews, shoot it to them that's in high school. Even middle school can comprehend this. It also helps them with their math. And it just keeps everything going with math, English, and everything. It's just all combined. And grades, I have seen where this inventory course has helped students' grades in high school and middle school. So make sure that you share this video with someone that you know and help them out too, because like I said, we don't ask for anything. We don't ask anybody to send us money or anything. This is free knowledge. Send it to someone. Send it, share it to someone, and tell them to make sure they like and subscribe. Okay, so now this video is all about reviewing week 3, week 4, okay? And we're going to review week 3 and week 4. I told everyone that if you have any questions or anything about week 3 and week 4, just send it in to the email and comment below on the video. Just comment on it, or either hit us up with an email. And our email address is cafeofknowledge88@gmail.com. Okay? And so make sure that if you have any questions, please email us or put them in the comments, and we will address all comments and questions that you have. I will be sure to answer those questions. So let's get right into it. We're going to review the week 3 and week 4. Really, I didn't have but about 2 questions from people. And the first one, let me just review week 4. Okay? When we got through with week 4, we all totaled the whole month of September from week 1 through week 4. Okay? We did inventory the whole month of September 2020, week 1, week 4. When we did week 4's inventory, we then combined the whole month. And if you did not see that video, you might want to refer back to week 4. so that you can have a better understanding what I'm talking about in this review video. Okay, so what we did in week 4, we combined it the whole month of September, and everything that we bought and everything that we sold in your store. And we took all of those numbers, and what we had for week 1 through week 4, we wanted to see what your profit was for the month of September. So what we did was we added up everything that you spent from week 1 to week 4, all the money that you spent on your vendors to bring you your items and your supplies. Your whole total month that you spent $640.50. That's what you spent the month of September on your inventory. Okay? And then when we added up how much you sold. And what you sold the whole month of September from week 1 to week 4, you sold $1,728 worth of inventory. That's what you sold. So then we added up and we subtracted everything, and we wanted to see what your profit was for the month of September. So what we did was we took the $1,728 that you bought in from your customers for that whole entire month, and then we subtracted the $640.50 that you spent on your items, and that came to your profit being $1,087.50. And we said in week 4 that was a pretty good profit. That you spent $600. You spent $640 for your inventory, but you profit back $1,087.50. So that was good. So that's how we did that. And like I said, if you don't understand that, you might want to refer back to week 4. You will have to refer back to week 4 in order to understand what I'm saying today in the review process. Okay, so that's what I wanted to talk about on that, because I had a question about the profit of the stores and everything. So that's how you determine your profit. You add up everything for the whole month, and then you see what you spent for the whole month. You add it all up from week 1 to week 4, and then you add what you bought in from week 1 all the way to week 4 of September, and then you subtract the 2, and that'll give you your profit that you made for that month of September 2020. Okay, so now that we have that out the way, each month is a new week. Like each month, you have 4 weeks in a month. So each month, you have week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. And that's what we will be doing next week for October. We're going to say next week is going to be October, the first week. Even if you see this video and it might be past October, or it might be in the middle of October, we are doing our next week video. We're going to act like it's October 2020, the first week. And then we will do week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. But those 4 weeks will be the end of our inventory process. And then we will go into our budgeting and accounting and things like that. Okay? So, but our week 1 through 4 for October, we'll get a little bit more advanced, okay? Because then I'm going to be talking to you today about pounds, how to order things by the pounds, how you count things by the pound, and how you order things by the case, and why do we order things by the case, okay? Because in September, week 1 through 4, we was just doing individual items, just getting you accustomed to ordering things by the each. I'm going to order 1 of these, 2 of these, 3 of these. And now we're going to start moving next week towards pounds. How to order things by the pounds and how to count things by the pound, and how to order things by the case, and how to order it by the case. Okay, so that's what we're going to move along on that next week, and that will be starting our October inventory 2020, and that's going to start week 1 next week. Okay, so now the next question I had was explain if you have missing items. Now usually when you are doing your inventory, every time something is rung up in your store by the cash register, that cash register records everything that you sell, and it records everything that you sell by that UPC number. We already talked about that. Your UPC number is on every item inside of a store, and it's on every item that identifies that item as its own personality or its own thing. Okay, so your UPC number identifies that item. So when somebody scans it across the register automatically will say item such and such, such and such, how many, and then the register will continue to calculate everything that you sell. So we're going to go into more of that starting next week. In October, the whole month of October, we will definitely be focusing on all that. But that's how you find out if things are missing, because your register will tell you at the end of the week. It'll tell you every day. If you just do an end of the day report, which we will go into that next week on October. But you do an end of the day report on your register, and your register will just bring out the whole report of everything you sold that day. Okay? And if you do an end of the week report, that register tape is going to tell you everything you sold that week. So, if you're in there counting on your inventory, and your inventory sheet says you sold 8 potatoes, and then the register say you only sold 5 potatoes for that week, then you know that you're missing 3 potatoes. Okay? Because if your inventory sheet is saying you sold, say, 8, and then your register sheet says no, you only sold 5, well, then that means that the register is saying you only sold 5, so 3 is missing. So what that means is you might want to, it ain't no might, you are going to have to go back and count those potatoes again, just to make sure you didn't miscount potatoes. And you're going to kind of walk around your whole store to try to see if it's any potatoes in a spot it's not supposed to be in, or you miscounted or whatever. But you're going to try to find those 3 potatoes, because that register is saying you only sold 5, but your inventory sheet is saying after you counted that you had sold 8. But the register is what you're going to have to go by. And if it says you only sold 5, then that means 3 bags of potatoes is missing, and you're going to have to go back and recount that. And if you recount that and your count is right, and you're still missing those 3, then you sometimes have to go back into your invoices to see, did you record it right? Did you record that the amount that came into your store is correct? After you check that, then you just gonna have to check inside the computer and see that someone recorded wrong, or did they record it right? When we transfer our invoice onto our inventory account sheet, when you transfer that, did you transfer it correctly? Did you make a mistake and put one number down? It should have been another number. You have to go and check all that stuff. And if all that stuff turns out to be everything was put in correctly, it came off the truck, that's how many you definitely had inside of that store for that week, and you are still missing 3, then you start having to look into, do you have a theft problem with the potatoes? Okay, and then that's when you will hold like a store meeting or something. If you can't find those 3 potatoes, you just have to take a loss on those 3 potatoes. And we will talk about how you take a loss next week through week 1 through week 4 of October. We will definitely get into that. But someone wanted to know that, so I'm touching base on it a little bit right now and telling you how you track that missing item, okay? And if you just cannot find it, you have to take a loss, and that item is lost. So however much you paid for potatoes, if you paid $30 for potatoes, those 3 bags are worth $30 together, then you just lost $30 out of your store, okay? Because you spent money for it and you didn't get any money back off of it. So you have to just take a loss. And that's what we don't want. That's what companies don't want. That's what businesses don't want. Nobody wants to take a loss. Nobody wants to spend money and then don't get anything back in return, because that is the whole purpose of being in business. You're selling to make at least double back or make some profit off of it. And if somebody is taking it to where you can't make profit off of it and you can't make money off of it, you just throwing money down the drain, but you're not bringing any money in because that item is being stolen, then pretty soon you will become bankrupt, or that company will become bankrupt, and you would have to shut the store down eventually due to theft, if that's your problem. Okay, and if it's a miscount problem, you just have to make sure that you come up with a correction action plan where you do not miscount, or you do not record wrongly. You can't keep recording things or putting things on your sheets or inside your computer that is not correct, because those things hurt the inventory as well. Okay, so like I said, we will go into that more next week, okay? But I just wanted to kind of touch base on that. But that's how you track missing items. And if it's not there, it's not there, and you cannot say it's there and it's really not there, because then you're cheating yourself. You know, some people call that padding. When something is not there, but the people put it's there anyway, just to make their numbers look good, or because they don't want to have it on record that they're losing money. So then they start putting down false information, which does nothing but hurt the business and yourself, because you're actually cheating your own self. So you have to be honest with inventory. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, you have to take that loss. Okay, you have to just woman up, man up, and take that loss. Okay, but what you don't want to do is start padding, because there's some places out there and some people out there that does pad numbers because they don't want to see a loss, or they don't want their numbers to look bad, and they don't want their profit to look like they're not making anything, so they start saying they have something and really don't. Okay, but that's not what we learn here. We learn how to do everything correctly, precisely, and if something is wrong, how to track it down, come up with a plan that this doesn't happen again, and then we take our loss. Period. Okay? So that's that was the second question on about the loss. Now I want to explain to you, since I only had 2 questions on our review process for week 3 and week 4, I'm just going to now touch base. So this video is basically going to be titled Review Week 3, Week 4, and then it's going to have a slash that says Learning About Pounds and Cases. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. Since I only had 2 questions, we're going to just run through right quick how to order things by the pound, how to count things by the pound, and you know, how to just record your things by the pound. Okay, because starting next week for October, week 1, we're gonna start ordering things that's by the pound and by the case, and that way you won't be lost. So What you might want to do is, as I'm talking about pounds and cases, you might want to pause, freeze sometime during this video so you can kind of get a better understanding. Screenshot the chart that I'm going to show you on how to count by the pounds and everything, so that when next week comes, you'll already be on top of it, okay? So make sure that you write everything kind of down that I'm saying about pounds and cases, and so you would know. And when we do next week inventory, it'll be an easy process for you, okay? Because if not, next week you're gonna have to refer back to this anyway, to kind of get a better understanding of pounds and cases. Okay, so now let's do this. Pounds and cases. So next week we're going to grow your inventory. And you know, for week 1 to week 4 of September, we was just ordering like milk, sweet potato, bags of sweet potatoes. We were ordering body wash and things like that. Okay, we was just ordering by the each. Okay, so next week we're going to grow your inventory, and we're going to start. Not only are we going to sell those items we've been selling in week 1 and week 4 in September, we're going to add some items next week that's by the case and by the pound as well. Okay, and so let me give you an example, because a lot of stores, they do order things by the pound and by the case. Okay, what they do is, you have some places like restaurants, auto parts stores, grocery stores, shoe stores, fast food stores, clothing stores. These places, and plenty more places, these places, or even the airports, they order things by cases, and some of them order things by pound. Okay, and in restaurant, they order, say, like carrots by the pound. They order a big old 50-pound bag of carrots, because in a restaurant, they don't sell the 50-pound bag of carrots, but they use those carrots to make their ingredients for the food they sell. For example, they use the carrots for making soup. They use the carrots for making salad. They use the carrots for probably making some type of veggie sandwich, you know. They use the carrots. They don't sell them like a grocery store. They don't sell the whole 50-pound bag of carrots or anything, but they do use them for ingredients, okay? Like cabbage, you know. A restaurant might order a big case of cabbage, because they use cabbage on their buffet bar, or they use cabbage on their sandwiches, or they use cabbage in a salad, or they use cabbage to just make a individual steak, to dress the steak up and all that. They just use their items differently than a grocery store would use, because a grocery store, you go in there and you buy your things. In a restaurant, they order a lot of these things because they use them to make the ingredients, or the food plates, or the entrees, or the appetizers, what they sell. Okay, so they use the carrots and the cabbage as ingredients, and so that's how come they order by the pound. Okay, and then you have a lot of stores that order by the case, because usually when you order it by the case, you can get the item cheaper if you buy them in a case, or bulk, they call it. Bulk means a lot of them, a case. You can normally get that item cheaper if you buy it by the case instead of buying it individually. Example, say if I wanted ketchup. If my store sell 12 ketchups a week, and if I can get those 12 ketchups in a case, I would probably order it in a case instead of ordering 12 individual ketchups, which those individual ketchups might cost me about 50 cents more buying them individually than it would buying them 12 in a case. Okay, so that's why people, businesses and companies and restaurants and things, they order they things by the case because it's cheaper to order it by the case, you know. But there is some things that you order individually because you don't need a case worth of that item. Okay, so that's the difference between ordering by the pound and ordering by the case, you know. Another example for pounds, I said that the carrots, the store, restaurants, fast food, things like that, they order they big bags of carrots because that's what they use for making their ingredients. They will order a 50-pound bag because they're using it to make their ingredients. Now, you might go to a grocery store or a supermarket and that store sells, say, bananas by the pound. Well, they do order big old cases of bananas by the pound, and they also sell them to us by the pound, okay? They order their bananas by the case or a pound, and then they sell them to us by the pound, okay? So when you go into a supermarket or grocery store and you grab bananas, everyone know that the bananas are weighed at the register. And depending on how much those bananas are a pound, that's what you would pay for how many pounds you have of bananas. Okay? So that's the difference between some stores sell items by the pound, which is a grocery store or a supermarket, and some places like restaurants and fast food, they don't sell their things by the pound. They don't sell them at all. They use them for their ingredients to make a sale off their entrees and their appetizers and their soup, things like that. So that's the difference between one store selling things by the pound, like a supermarket. You know, you get potatoes by the pound, or you can get whatever they sell, strawberries by the pound, grapes by the pound, all that. Grocery stores sell things like that by the pound. But if you go into the restaurant, they don't sell it by the pound. The grapes are just probably on the fast food buffet bar. Or they just sell it with an entree dressed up on the side or something. They put a sprinkle of grapes around to make your plate look good. See, they use the grapes in their store, but they don't sell them like a supermarket or a grocery store. So just make sure that you have a good understanding of that. And if you don't, just keep rewinding, pause, and listen to me again so that you can kind of get a better understanding of who sell by the pound, who doesn't sell by the pound. Why do all of them use items by the pound? And you can find all that out by pausing, rewinding, or whatever, okay? So, but that's how they do that. So we're going to get into items that are by the pound and items by the case. Okay, now, let's talk about cases first. We're going to do cases. So say that there are 4 gallons of orange juice in one case. So say you have a case in front of you, a case of orange juice, and it's 4 gallons of orange juice in that case. 4 gallons of orange juice in that case, okay? Now, 4 items of orange juice, that case costs you $6, okay? So you bought it from your vendor, your supplier, and that case costs $6. So you have 4 gallons of milk in a case. That whole case cost you $6. So actually you got 4 gallons of orange juice for $6. Okay, but that case is $6, and it'll be 4 orange juice inside that case, and they will have the case taped up, and it will have on the top orange juice, gallon of orange juice. Okay, so you got a case of orange juice, and it's 4 gallons of orange juice in each case. So this is how you do that. That means your wholesale price, what you paid for it, is $6. Okay, now how much did each gallon of orange juice cost you? Okay, so now you want to know, okay, I paid $6 for this whole case. I got 4 orange juice in it, 4 gallons of orange juice in it. Okay, you spent $6 for that case. How much did each one of those orange juice cost? Okay, so you got 4 in there. So what you would do is, do anybody know what they would do? Correct. What you would need to do is divide 4 into $6. Okay, and that will give you $1.50. So that means each orange juice in that case costs you $1.50. The first one costs you $1.50, the second one costs you $1.50, the third one costs you $1.50, and the fourth one costs you $1.50, which adds up to $6. So now you know which each gallon of orange juice costs you. It costs you $1.50 for each one of orange juice. So now you want to set a retail price on each one of those orange juice is what you're going to sell to the people, okay, to your customers. You're going to set a price, say, okay, you spent $1.50 for each orange juice, and some places will sell that orange juice for about $4, okay, $3.99 or $4. So we're just going to round it off and say $4. So then you will put a price of $4 on each one of those orange juice, okay? And by doing that, if you put $4 on the orange juice and you spending $1.50 for it, that means you're making a profit of $2.50, okay? Because it cost you $1.50 for the orange juice, okay? And then you selling it for $4. So you selling it for $4. You spent $1.50 for it, so then your profit left of what you made off that one orange juice would be $2.50 if you sell it for $4, okay? And you try to put a price on things that you know that it's going to sell for that price. You don't want to put a real high. Like if you put $8 for a gallon of orange juice on there, ain't nobody really going to buy no $8 orange juice unless you could tell them what all that orange juice can do and how good it is for the health, for the heart, for the everything. You're going to have to do some real explaining to kind of get somebody to say, I spend $8 for a gallon of orange juice, okay? So that's why it's good to price your items where you know that it's reasonable and it's going to sell, okay? And sometimes what people do is they scout around to see how much other stores are selling their orange juice for, and then they sell their orange juice according to what the other store is selling theirs for. They either sell it for a little bit more or a little bit less just to get the business, okay? So that's how you do that. So now you know how to do that. So now, let's say we gonna get, and then orange juice, let's go back to that, because I just showed you how to do by the cases and all that. Okay, now you know we have a category for each item. So what do you think orange juice would be in the category? You know we have dog food is in the category of pet department. And you know body wash is in the HBA department. We know bananas and fruit and carrots and things, those are in the produce department. We know all that from week 1 and week 4 of September. But what do you think that orange juice category would go up under? Okay, I'm gonna tell you, it will go up under your beverages. Okay, because that's where you will probably find your apple juice, your orange juice, You'll find your orange juice, your apple juice, and then some kind of fruit juice. You'll find all the juices in that same department, which is called the beverage department, okay? And you'll probably see some Coca-Colas and, all kind of soft drinks, So that would be in the beverage department. So your orange juice would be in the category of a beverage department, okay? So now let's go to, let's say, paper towels. You have a case of paper towels now, and there are 10 packs of paper towels in a case, okay? The case costs you $5, okay? How much did each pack of paper towels cost you? Okay? You need 2. If 10 come in a case, and that case is $5, then you would have to say 10 divided into $5, which would be 50 cents. And you spend 50 cents on each pack of paper towels, okay? And then you would have to set a retail price for your customers. So if you're spending 50 cents for each paper towel, and say if you price each paper towel at $2, then that means that you would make $1.50 profit. Because if you're selling it for $2, you're only spending 50 cents on it. So then that means your profit is $1.50. Okay? So that's how you do things by the case. However many is in that case, you divide it by the wholesale price you paid. So like I said, the 10 pack of paper towel in a case costs you $5. So then you would say 10 divided into 5 to see what you're paying for each thing individual. Same thing with the orange juice. Okay? Whatever the price is on that case, if you spend $10 for that case, then how many is in that case, you're going to have to divide it by what you spent on it, and that will tell you what each one of them costs. Okay? So that's how that goes. Now let's talk about pounds. Okay? Now, let's talk about pounds. If you feel I'm going a little bit too fast about your individual case products, all you do is pause, rewind, and keep rewinding, and then get it. But I'm going to let you do that, but I'm going to move on. Okay? So now it says, let's do by the pounds. Okay? So let's say you have a case of bananas, and the case is 50-pound case of bananas. So say you got a case of banana in front of you, and it's a 50-pound case of bananas. Okay? It's a 50-pound case of bananas. Okay, and the majority of grocery stores and supermarkets, they sell bananas, okay, by the pound to their customers. So now, you will sell your bananas, okay, by the pound. So now, your case costs you $8. So you got a case of bananas, and it's 50 pounds of them. You got a 50-pound case of bananas. And that case costs you $8. Okay? That case of bananas costs you $8. How much did each pound of bananas cost you? You would have to divide, what's that? The $8 into the 50 pound. So you would go $8 divided into 50. Okay? And that will give you 16 cents. So if you spend $8 for a 50-pound box of bananas, then you got them for $8, 50 pounds, you would divide that. You would divide the $8 into 50 pounds. That will give you 16 cents. So that means each pound of bananas costs you 16 cents. 1 pound costs you 16 cents. 2 pounds costs you 16 cents. 3 pounds costs you 16 cents. And you do that all the way till you get to 50. And then you will see that that's $8. Okay? So, each pound of banana costs you 60 cents. So now what are you going to sell your bananas for to your customers? If each pound costs you 16 cents, then let's say you sell them for, let's see, how much you want to sell your, let's say you want to sell them for $1 a pound, okay? You want to sell them for $1 a pound. And so you pay 16 cents a pound for your bananas, but you're going to sell to your customers $1 a pound, okay? So that's how you do that. And then if you do it like that, you would have, how much would your profit be? Okay? So what's your profit? So if you sell each pound for $1 and you got 50 pounds, right? So that means you would make $50. Now you spent $8 for that case. So you would say 50 minus $8, and that will give you $42. So that means you profit $42 off that case. That's when you sell all of those bananas, okay? You will profit $42 off of those bananas when you only spent $8 for it. So that's pretty good, okay? So that's how you do that, okay? So now let's also do another one. Let's do okay, we're gonna go over how you do bananas and cabbage and carrots, okay? We're gonna do cabbage and carrots for restaurants, okay? So now most restaurants, fast food, like I said, they use their things to make ingredients. Now, far as bananas, let's go back to bananas in a supermarket or grocery store. Usually, when you're doing your inventory, they have a scale. At the end of the week, you'll put those bananas on the scale, and the scale will tell you how many bananas you have left, okay? And so say, like I said, that you got a 50-pound bag of, you got a 50-pound case of bananas. And let's say that at the end of the week, you do inventory, and you put those bananas on a scale, and it says you got 40 pounds of bananas. Then that means you sold 10 pounds of bananas that previous week, okay? Because you had 50 pounds. So that's how you do, and you would write on your inventory sheet 50 pounds, okay? Or 40 pounds, whatever is left after you put it on the scale. You know that next week you'll put bananas on the scale and it might say 30 pounds, okay? And you'll have to put on your inventory sheet 30 pounds. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you do inventory by the pound when you ordering things by the pound, okay? So now let's do say fast food restaurant things that order things by the pound, but they don't sell it by the pound, okay? So let's say when you order things by the pound, they normally, it's like, if they order carrots, and carrots will come in a big bag, and sometimes they will come in a case. But if they come in a big bag, a big clear bag, and it's a big thing of carrots, 50-pound bag of carrots, they count inventory like 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 0.6, all the way to 0.10. 0.10 means it's a full bag. 0.9 means a little bit is used out of the bag. 0.8 means a little bit more is used out of the bag. And I'm going to show you how that goes. Let's say carrot. Now, I said I was an inventory specialist, but I am not a professional drawer. So we just going to act like this is a bag of carrots, and don't y'all laugh at my drawing, okay? But we just going to act like this is a bag, but this is how they do. You see how I got it? Let's say that's a bag of potatoes right there, okay? Let's say that's a bag of potatoes. And how you count that, if you got a bag of carrots, I'm sorry. So if you use just a little bit, that will still be a 0.10. Say you go and count another week and this much is missing, it'll be a 0.9. Then it's a 0.8. Then it's a 0.7. And when you get to a half a bag, it's a 0.5. Anything below a half a bag, then you start counting 0.4, 0.3, 0.2. That's when the bag is almost empty and this is all you got left. You see, when this is all you got left, then it'll be a 0.2, 0.1. So if you got a half a bag, it's a 0.5. Then a little bit under a half a bag is a 0.4. Then a 0.3. Then a 0.1. Then a point. That's how you do it. And anything up here, a 0.10. That's if the bag is full. And then if you go and you count and it's only a little bit of carrots, you know, been out the bag, then you would say a 0.9. Then if the bag is probably that full, then it's a 0.8. And it's a 0.7. Then it's a 0.6. Then when you get down to a half a bag, it's a 0.5. You see what I'm saying? So that's how you do that. And say carrots cost you $15 a bag. Each one of those points is worth $1.50. Because if you say $1.50 times 10 would be $15. Okay? So that's how you do that. That's how you count inventory. And then that's when you doing in a restaurant or something like that. And what you do is when you go around your store and then you counting your inventory and things like that, only thing you have to do is if the bag is full, then you know it's a full bag. You put 0.10. If the bag is a little bit missing, it's a 0.9. And you will put that on your inventory sheet, 0.9. You know, and if the bag it's just a half a bag left, it's a 0.5. If it's below a half of a bag, it's a 0.4. And so, like I said, just screenshot this, and that's how you count inventory. Okay? That's how you count it in a restaurant or something. When you go around your store and you counting them that 50-pound bag of carrot, and if it's only a little bit missing, then it's a 0.9. If it's about that much missing, it's a 0.8. That much missing is a 0.7. That much missing close to the half, but not quite a half, is a 0.6. And then if it's a half of a bag left, it's a 0.5. So that's how you would record that on your inventory sheet, okay? You would record that on your inventory sheet as a 0.6, 0.7, however much you have left, okay? So let's do that. So that's how you do. You count it as 0.1. 0.1 is all the way at the bottom, but you don't really have that much left. That's a 0.1, you know, and a 0.2 or 0.3. So that's how they do in the restaurant world or fast food world if they counting their things by the pound, okay? Some of them will put them on the scale and they go by whatever it weighs. But then you have some that they don't go by the pound. They go by how much is in the bag or how much is in the case. And that would be, you have to count it like that. And usually it's the vegetables that are counted like that. Okay? Not your mayonnaise and your mustard and stuff like that. It's normally your cabbage, your carrots, your tomatoes or stuff like that they count either by the pound, they put it on a scale, or either they go by 0.1, 0.2, how much is in the box. Even if it's in the box, if the box is full, then you would say, okay, that's about a 0.10 or 0.9, because that's a full mark. Like I said, that's a full mark. A point 10 and a point 9 is a full mark. So if you count a case of something, and that's how they do it, that's how the business that you work at does it, they count it either how much is in it, or they count it by the pound. Either way, you know how to do either one. Okay? But if they do it by 0.1, 0.2, if it's almost full, then you know it's either a 0.10 or a 0.9. And then if you look in there the next time you count inventory and it done got down a little bit, then you know it's a 0.7 or a 0.6. If that case or that bag is half full, you know that's a 0.5. Because 0.5 mean half. Okay? And if it's a little bit under a half of a case or half of a bag, then you know that's a 0.4 or a 0.3. That's how it's done. And you put that on your inventory sheet. Okay? And like I said, we will do that starting next week. It's not hard at all. It might sound hard, or I might be explaining it where it sounds hard, but it's not at all, because once we do it next week, y'all will be like, oh, okay. And you're probably saying, oh, okay now, because it's not hard at all. That's how you do it. Okay? So let's say that that 50-pound bag of carrot, like I told you, you need to divide 15 into 10, and that will give you $1.50. Okay? And you dividing the 10 into 15, because that bag of carrots costs you $15. And we talked about that bag of carrots costs you $15. Now, each point, in order to know, well, how much is each point, then you would say 10, because it's 10 points. 10 divided into 15 is $1.50. So you know every time each point is missing, that's $1.50. $1.50, $1.50, $1.50. So that means if you use, say, all the way down to 0.8, then you'll say $1.50, $1.50, $1.50. That's how much you know you have used. Okay? And then by the time you finish the whole bag, then you know you finished the whole $15 worth of carrots. Okay? You use the whole $15 worth of carrots. And they 50-pound bags. Okay? So that's how you do that. Okay? So, like I said, if you're confused, just go back. Next week, we'll get into it a little bit more. We're going to order this stuff. And as we order it each week, starting next week, you will have a better understanding. Right now, I'm just touching base on how it's done, why it's done. But when we start doing it ourselves next week, you might, because you're going to be doing it hands-on, then you'll get the hang of, oh, okay, I got it. Okay? So that's how you do that. Now, let's say that you ordering cabbage. When you got a case of cabbage in front of you, but that case of cabbage is a 25-pound case. It's a 25-pound case of cabbage, okay? And that 25-pound case of cabbage costs you $20, okay? And this is for the restaurant world too, you know. Say that, and you know, in the grocery store, you can go and you can buy a head of cabbage, and they'll do the cabbage by the pound, and you have to pay for it like that. And then in a restaurant, they don't sell it. They just use it for, you know, their ingredients of for soup or for salads or whatever. Okay? So now, you got a case of cabbage. And the case of cabbage is 25 pounds. Okay? Now, you counting them by the points. You know, you counting them by the points, same way we did the carrots. We counting the cabbage the same way. 0.1, 0.2. But instead of the cabbage being in a bag, say they in a case, they inside of a case. And I already just explained to you how you count it in the case. It's the same way. If that case of cabbage is almost full or near full, it's either a full bag, a 0.10, or it's either 0.9. And then when you count the next week and it's a little bit lower, then you know it's probably a 0.6 or a 0.7. If it's a half a case left, then you know it's a 0.5. You would record it the same way. But let's find out the cost of it. So if you paid $20 for that 25-pound bag, and you counting them by the 10 points, you would do just like you did the carrots. You would say 10 or 20 divided into 10, because it's 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, all the way till you get to 0.10. So if you spent $20 for it, then you would say $20 divided into the 10. And then that would give you $2. So that means every pound, so that means that it's $2 for each point. Each point is worth $2. 0.1 worth $2. 0.2 worth $2. 0.3 worth $2. Okay? Now, so that means your wholesale price, if you divide, okay, let's see how much you spending a pound for the cabbage. We're going to do that as well. So if you spend $20 for a 25-pound case of cabbage, then you would say that $20 divided into 25 pounds, and that will give you 80 cents. And you would say, okay, so I'm spending 80 cents on each pound of cabbage. Cost me 80 cents because I got 25 pounds of it, and it cost me $20. Okay, so you would say $20 divided into the pounds, 25 pounds, and that will give you 80 cents. So now you know 80 cents is what you spend for each pound of those cabbages. Okay, and the 80 cents times 25 pounds will give you those $20. Okay, so that's just how you do it. How you calculate your pounds and your points and things like that. So I'm going to show you a chart of that cabbage, and it's the same way. Okay, I'm gonna give you a chart. I'm gonna show you. So let's say that's cabbage, and the cabbage is 25 pounds, and then the cabbage, you got 25-pound cabbage. I got $25. I don't know. I think I told y'all on this paper it's 20. So let me see. Yeah, we did $20. We did $20. So we're gonna erase that $20 that's up here, $20 a bag. I mean $25 a bag, and put $20. Okay. So we're gonna do that. So that's a $20 bag. Okay, $20 for that case. So let's do that. So I just changed it. I changed it up here, marked it out. It's $20. Okay. So, but it's a 25-pound. It's a 25-pound case of cabbage, and that 25-pound case costs you $20. Okay. So you remember what we did to find out how much each cabbage is a pound? We would have to divide that $20 into the 25, and that would give us 80 cents. So you pay for cabbage 80 cents a pound. So now if you wanted to, if you was in a grocery store and you wanted to resell cabbage by the pound, then you're going to have to sell it for more than 80 cents because you spent 80 cents a pound for it. So then you would sell it in a grocery store or something for probably about, let's say, $2 a pound. or yeah, $1.60 a pound, $1.60 to $2 a pound is what you would charge your customers if you was in a grocery store selling cabbage by the pound. Okay, so now that you got a good screenshot of that chart too, but this is how you do the case. Let me show you that. So now, if you're not in a supermarket or a grocery store and you are in a restaurant, that's when they count it as 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5. 0.5 is half full. 0.6, 0.7, 0.8, 0.9 is almost full. 0.10 is full. Okay? And each point is worth $2. Okay? Because if you say 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, it'll be $20 once you get up to 0.10. And that's how much you pay for that case. So that's if you're in a restaurant, you would count it by 0.1, 0.2. It just depends on how much is missing out of that box or that bag. Okay? So that's how you count it in the restaurant or fast food world. But if you're in a grocery store or you are in a supermarket and you wanted to sell it by the pound, okay, that's when we had divided that $20 into 25 pounds. And that gave us 80 cents. That you're paying 80 cents a pound for them cabbage. So that's when people come into your store and they buy cabbage at a grocery store or supermarket. They'll buy a head of cabbage. And each head of cabbage, if you're spending 80 cents for each pound, then you're going to charge your people probably $1.60 or $2 a pound for the cabbage. And then when they put the cabbage on the scale at your store, at the register, and it said whatever pound it is, it's going to charge them $2 for each pound, because that's how much you're selling to your customers. You're paying 80 cents for it. You're charging your customers $2 for it. Okay, you pay 80 cents for it. You put a retail price to your customers as $2. And so every time they get cabbage, and then it goes on the scale or the register scale, and how many pounds they got, each pound is $2. So that's how you do that. Okay? And then if you're in a restaurant, fast food, and you're not selling cabbages, you just use them as ingredients, and that's when some of those stores still do count them by the pound. They have scales too, that they say, oh no, we don't count them as 0.1, 0.2, 0.3. We just go by the pound. Well, you know how to record by the pound as well. But if they say, yeah, we go by 0.1, 0.2, you know how to do that as well. Okay? So that I done touched base on pounds and cases. You know that now. Please review those. The charts that I sent you, please review those. Study it. Please study it. Okay? So that's basically how you do pounds and cases. Okay? So you might have to review this video probably about 2 or 3 times just so you'll get the hang of what I'm trying to say and what I explained, the difference between pounds in a grocery store or supermarket and the difference between pounds in a restaurant or a fast food place. You see what I'm saying? So you have to review this video so you'll get a good, clear understanding of how the pounds go, and just work different things to yourself and all that good stuff. Okay, just work it out to yourself. Try to do some little things. Pound it. Just say, make up something. Cabbage. Go. I did cabbage by $20 for 25 pounds of cabbage. You could save $50 for such and such, just to see if you got the hang of it or not. Also, practice on the cases. If you have a case of something for $5 and there's 10 of them in there, you know how to divide the 5 into 10, and that's what you pay for each one of those items individually. Please go over this video so that next week you're not too lost on what we're doing in week 1 of October next week, okay? So please make sure that you review and study so you can be on point for next week, okay, when we do it. So I think that's just about all for today. I did at the beginning of the video, I reviewed week 3, week 4. I was addressing any questions that anyone had. I only had 2 questions in the email. I addressed those questions at the beginning of this video. And then I also wanted to touch base on how to do pounds and cases, okay? And that's how you do pounds and cases. And next week, we're going to increase your inventory, enhance it, and we're going to get more stuff. And the more things that we get are going to be by the case and by the pound. We're still going to use everything we were selling in September as well, from week 1 to week 4 in September. We're going to add those items to our items for next week, which are, we're going to order new items next week because we're going to grow your store. And those items, those new items that we're bringing in now are going to be by the case and by the pound. And that's why I said you will get more familiar with it as we start it next week, from week 1 through week 4 of October, okay? So that's all I have. Just please study and review and practice on this video, and make sure that you got the pounds good down pat, you got the cases down pat, you have how the restaurant use their pounds and their cases, and you have how the supermarkets and grocery stores use their pounds and their cases, and the price difference and how they got it and how to count it, 0.1 to 0.10. You got all that. Please review it. Please study it. And then we'll be on track for next week, okay? And like always, hit those likes up. Click that subscribe, okay? Come on now, we got to get the subscribe up. You know, I love that people view. Thank you all for viewing, and thank you all for tuning in to our channel as well. But we also need for you guys to hit subscribe. Please hit the subscribe button. We have a whole lot of views, but a lot of people are not clicking subscribe. It don't cost anything to just click right at the side of that video, subscribe. Help us out a lot there. Let's up these likes and up these subscribe, because that way we can help more people throughout this whole process, okay? So y'all have a great day and have a great week, and I will see y'all next inventory video, which will be next Wednesday when we put it out. But the next video will be week 5, level 5. Y'all moving on up the ladder now. Next week video will be week 5, level 5, okay? But we're going to be in the month of October, you know, so don't forget to do that. Please hit subscribe so when we send out a video, you will get that notification and you won't miss anything, okay? So once again, see you all later. Bye-bye. I will see y'all next week. And our next video coming up will be me and Jay. So y'all have a nice day, and bye-bye.